Now let's see how natural disasters are classified. They are mainly classified into three. One is meteorological disasters because of extremes of climate and weather, like rain, drought, all those are giving some disasters. Then you have topographical disasters. Topographical, as the name indicates, because of some change in the topography of the earth, like earthquakes, landslides. Then we have the environmental disasters because of the extremes in the environmental condition. So under meteorological disasters, as you can guess, we have floods, tsunamis, cyclones, hurricanes, typhoons, all these are coming under meteorological. Then under topographical, we have volcanic eruptions, then landslides, then earthquakes, these avalanches, all these are happening. Then we have some thing known as environmental disasters, under which extremes of environment, global warming, then El Nino phenomenon. El Nino is due to the extreme change in the temperature over the oceans in the Pacific. Okay, so these are coming under the environmental disasters. Like I said, if you look into these natural disasters, definitely, like I said before, our hands are also there, right? That means human contribution is always there. Now, let's see how man-made disasters are classified. Like we have three types here also. There are three types of man-made disasters. One is technological. Technological means it is caused by the malfunctioning of the technology or because of some human error which led to a malfunctioning of the technology. Then you have industrial error. Like you can guess, because of some industrial spillages or due to some radioactive thing, something which happened with the industry, sometimes explosion, sometimes fire, then warfare. So under technological, we have transport failure, then you have public place failure, like stampedes, those things are coming, then fire. Then under industrial, we have chemical spillages, then radioactive spillages, and under warfare, we have war, then terrorism, then civil unrest. Then what is the CBRNE? It is chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear and explosive. So these are coming under the warfare. So this is how we classify the natural disasters and man-made disasters. Okay, now I'll show you some pictures. What is this? It's snow sliding down the mountain. What do you call it as? That is avalanche. Then what is this? Now I would like to take your attention through few terms which we have already discussed. One is avalanche. Somewhere I said avalanche. What is it? You want to see? This is avalanche. What is it? Snow sliding down the mountain, killing people. This is happening in Himalayan belts and many places. Sinkhole. What is it? As you can guess, a big hole that is happening in the ground, sinking everything above it. Is it happening? Yes, it is happening. It usually happens in non-residential areas, but it has also happened in residential areas. I have a picture that I will show you. See, this is considered as the biggest sinkhole that happened in Guatemala, which is a residential area. You believe it or not, there was a flat which was just above the sinkhole, which disappeared one fine morning. It killed a lot of people. That is sinkhole. Then blizzard. What is blizzard? I mentioned blizzard. What is it? It is snowstorm. Okay, this is blizzard. Those are about the natural disasters. Now moving on to man-made disaster. Let's see few man-made disasters which are notorious. We'll start with something in India. I'm very sure you are all familiar with this picture. This picture comes in our newspapers every December. This was a heartbreaking picture which was taken from the scene of Bhopal gas tragedy. Okay, so Bhopal gas tragedy, where did it take place? It happened in a pesticide factory known as Union Carbide pesticide plant. What you see here was the old picture of Union Carbide pesticide plant, and again another picture of Union Carbide pesticide plant. And when did this happen? In 1984 on 3rd December. Which gas leaked out? MIC, methyl isocyanate, and it killed a lot of people, and it is having its effect even now. And this is the current state of Union Carbide pesticide plant. As you can see, it's all rotten and nothing is working now. And I have few pictures. So these are few pictures which were taken from the site of Bhopal gas tragedy, and a lot of people died and they were all collected, and this is how they were cremated. And what you see here are the picture of people who died. So it was really a bad situation that happened in India, Bhopal gas tragedy, and this is considered to be one of the world's worst man-made disaster. I'll show you a picture. Can you identify this person? He looks like a foreigner, right? Okay, so who is he? He was the chief executive officer of Union Carbide pesticide plant in 1983. His name is Warren Anderson. And during the time of Bhopal gas tragedy, he was in US. And after the Bhopal gas tragedy, our Indian government charged him with manslaughter because this was completely preventable. So many things happened in between, and I don't want to go into those details. Anyway, they could have completely prevented it. Before this gas leak, the information was given to the company to take some action to prevent it, but somehow they didn't do it. So afterwards, after this incident, our Indian government charged him with manslaughter, but he refused to come for the trial. Then later, we had to, that means the Indian government had to promise that he wouldn't be put in jail. So with that promise, he came here, he took trial. After that, we put him in jail. Anyway, after he was made a prisoner, he took a bail and he flew back to US. After that, he was completely absconding. There was no news of Warren Anderson. However, we tried, we couldn't get him into our custody afterwards. But recently, news has come out that he is no more. Anyway, we don't know much about it. I just wanted to show you the picture of Warren Anderson. So that was about Bhopal gas tragedy. Moving on to the next. I have a picture. I am sure you all will recognize this because there was a web series on this particular event. You are saying it right. It is Chernobyl disaster, which happened before or after Bhopal gas tragedy? Few years after Bhopal gas tragedy. This is Chernobyl nuclear explosion on 26th of April 1986. This happened in Chernobyl in Ukraine. And what you see here is the current status of the Pripyat city where this had happened. So, as you can see, it's completely deserted. Like you saw in that web series, it was a beautiful web series, right? I'm sure majority who is watching this would have definitely seen that. It's a beautiful web series, and I really enjoyed. And if you read the history of Chernobyl disaster, you'll find the same things that you saw in that web series. And even the cities they have constructed in the exactly the same like it is appearing in that, it's kind of, all very similar thing they have made in that web series. And which is the gas that leaked out in Pripyat city? It was iodine 131, cesium 134, 137 and strontium 90. These were the gases which leaked out. And as you know, after the, at the time of that Chernobyl nuclear disaster, this Pripyat city was a thickly populated city, that was a densely populated city and one of the developed cities in Ukraine, in USSR back then. But after that incident, people just left the city, everyone abandoned this, and even now nobody is living in that place. A lot of research works are going on, and people even now believe that the side effects of that nuclear leakage is going on. So no one has come back after they left that Chernobyl city. So it is kind of degenerated now. And the importance of this Chernobyl is, this is the largest accidental release of radioactive material in the history of manpower, with nuclear power, which went up to the level of 7 on the International Nuclear Event Scale. What you see here is the International Nuclear Event Scale based on the intensity of the nuclear leakage. So, this will help you to assess the intensity of nuclear leakage, and 7 is the maximum, and Chernobyl disaster is the first one which went up to the highest level of 7 in nuclear leakage. After that, in 2011, we had another nuclear disaster. What is it? Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, which happened in, is there in that name, Japan. Following, what happened in 2011? Tsunami. After that, some nuclear explosion happened, right? Some nuclear power plant, they exploded, and that is known as Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster. And the importance of this is a second nuclear disaster which went up to the level of 7. Okay, so these things you please keep in your mind. And let's come back to India. In this picture, you see few disasters, natural disasters which recently happened in India. The first is, what is it? See, this is what you see in the first is Chennai airport. A flight is trying to land, but they can't find any land to land. So, this is, yes, this is about the flood which happened in Chennai. Then Uttarakhand flood. This is Marina Beach in Chennai. This is the last year flood in Kerala. So, what you see first is a temple, and second, can you read? That is the entrance of a medical college. And I heard that students went there, you know, by swimming, they went there and attended the class. That is what we heard. Anyway, this is also a scene from Kerala during the last flood. So, what I want to tell you is a lot of disasters are happening even now in India, and majority of disasters we have in India is because of water. You call it as hydrological disaster. So, in India, the maximum what we face is hydrological disasters. So, I just wanted to give you a picture of the disasters which happened outside India and inside India. Now, keep all this in your mind, and now let us see what are the morbidities which are associated with disaster. As far as we doctors are concerned, what are the morbidities that we need to face when a disaster is happening? They are mainly classified into 4. One is injuries, most important, right? Afterwards, emotional stress. People are really depressed. Then, after some time, epidemic of diseases. New diseases come up, and then increase in indigenous diseases. Some diseases which we have somehow kept under control, like malaria and all, comes back. So, these are the problems that we doctors and the health system is going to face after disaster. Apart from all the other things, the ones which are really going to give stress on the health system are these ones: injuries, emotional stress, then epidemics and increase in indigenous diseases. And it is said that for every one disaster registered, there are 20 other unacknowledged smaller emergencies with destructive impact. So, if you find one in newspaper, please do understand that there are some 20 others which went unnoticed. When is World Disaster Reduction Day? World Disaster Reduction Day, according to National Institute of Disaster Management in India, it is in October, second Wednesday of October. Whenever I ask this in class, students always say, Madam, 2nd October. They don't say Wednesday. So, I ask them, what is the disaster that happened on 2nd of October? Then they will say, Gandhi Jayanti, Gandhiji was born. Then I ask them, do you think that is a disaster? Then they will change and say, no madam, it is not 2nd October but 2nd Wednesday of October. So, that way you can also relate something related to Gandhi Jayanti. Whereas UN General Assembly, they consider International Day of Disaster Reduction Day as October 30. So, according to NIDM, that means National Institute of Disaster Management, it is 2nd Wednesday of October, whereas according to UN, it is 13th of October. So, these things you have to keep in your mind.